Whoa. Sorry. Everybody stop. I'm sorry. I know that title was probably a little bit, or a lot, annoying, but before you subscribe, just so you can unsubscribe, let me explain. I'm going to be going over the controversy that's happening over at Artist Talk because there is a lot going on right now. But if you don't know what's going on, let me fill you in. Have you ever seen a really cool art video and you wanted to know like how they were doing what they were doing or where they got their supplies from, but when you go to the comments, anything that's asking any of those similar questions are being purposely ignored? Like you see them responding to everybody else except for those comments. That could be because the artist is gatekeeping. Gatekeeping is the activity of controlling and usually limiting general access to something. This is a huge hot topic in the art community right now, and it sparks a lot of debate whether it's right or wrong. So in this video, I'm going to be going into a deep dive on both sides. Before we begin, let me fully explain what's going on in the art community right now. There is a huge push for everything to be public information with what artists use and how they use it. So let's say an artist launches a new button set. The comments are going to obviously be like, oh my gosh, how cute. But there's also going to be a lot of comments about where'd you get the button maker? What kind of button maker is it? What kind of paper? What kind of badges? Just so many questions on every aspect of when, where, how essentially they did what they did. I need it! If the artist never answers any of the questions in that video and a couple of other videos, people are going to start to take notice and they will be upset. And this goes for pretty much every single medium of art that I've seen. This includes digital art, jewelry makers, clay artists, painters, AI artists. Yo man, where'd you learn to type a basic ass prompt and steal from other artists like that? It's sick as hell, dog. Obviously, I'm just kidding. AI artists are as much of artists as I am a chef when I put instant ramen into a microwave. So here is where the divide happens. Where do we draw the line on when it is and isn't okay? What makes one person really rude and selfish and then the other person just an artist trying to protect their craft? Where's the line in the sand that separates gatekeeping with hogging of information versus protecting yourself? So to start off, let's talk about the more selfish side. So to start off, let's talk about the more selfish side first. There are just basic things that people need to know to start in any art field. When I first started homemaking stickers before I started getting them manufactured, I was deep into those comments of sticker makers and trying to find where did they get their product? What product was it? What lamination? How did they do it? How did they laminate it safely? How did they make them so quality? Pretty much any and everything you could think of, I was trying to find in that comment section. However, there are artists that won't share anything. I've seen people ask very basic questions that have been just completely ignored. One example is I saw someone ask an artist where they got their beads from, and the artist was just refusing to divulge where they got those beads. And as someone who is a jewelry maker, the beads were nothing to gatekeep over. They were very basic plastic beads. And I'm seriously not trying to be rude. They were just very basic beads you could get anywhere. So if the artist said, oh, I get them from Amazon or oh, I get them from Michael's, it would not have destroyed their career or even taken any of their business away. And this is where it starts to get super toxic. And I'm not talking about the 2003 hit single by Britney Spears. Anyways, it just becomes this weird famine mentality of, oh, I can't tell anyone anything because then I might get my buyers taken away. It just starts to become super, super selfish. And actually, as I was writing the script for this video, I realized what it was. It is people who love art versus people who love making money. People who love art want to see other artists succeed. They'll see a piece of art and think, oh my gosh, I really hope they sell these well. These are amazing. These are beautiful. More people need to know about these. Versus somebody who just wants money, sees that beautiful piece of art and just immediately gets angry and thinks, oh, this could potentially take my buyers. So it's that exact famine selfish attitude of gatekeeping that then kind of spreads and makes any artist gatekeeping just automatically come across as selfish. So let's say there's an artist and they make their stickers at home and they are just absolutely amazing quality. And people are asking the kind of products they use, how they use it, like techniques and everything like that. And they refuse to divulge any of that information because then they can go in and say that their stickers are amazing quality that you are not going to find anywhere else. And they can then use that to market their products even better. Others are definitely going to see that as rude and selfish, but the artist isn't wrong at all to do that. They honestly probably have spent years trying to figure out the perfect mixture of all these different things, different inks, printers, papers, laminations, the technique of putting it all together. And we're not just talking about time here spent into doing this, we're talking about tons of money. So in the artist's eyes, why should they divulge all of that for free? I personally do this exact same thing with my Pokemon terrariums that I sell. Call me St. Peter the way I be gatekeeping. That's so stupid. I tell people the general items that I use, but I do not at all feel obligated to tell people the exact products and techniques that I use to make my terrariums. It took me around 5 years to finally get to the technique that I am now with them, so I will happily tell someone like the bare basic starter needs for a terrarium if they want to make their own, but I'm not going to divulge any of the specific details on how I do what I do for free. Another thing that I see is artist gatekeeping manufacturers, which I will say is a little more than just a little ridiculous to me. I actually Googled when sharing starts to develop, and that starts at age 4. So I think we may need some development techniques for some of y'all. You can have Printful for 30 minutes, but then little Timmy needs it, okay? Listen, I understand you may have done tons of research to find your manufacturer, but gatekeeping a good, quality, reliable manufacturer from other artists just feels so icky to me. I personally use a couple of manufacturers. Like for my stickers, I use Sticker App and Sticker Blitz, and then for a lot of my print-on-demand items like this Jinx blanket in the background, I use Printful. I had to do my own research when finding all of these, and it took me quite a while to find manufacturers that I really liked and stuck with, but I'm not going to hog any of that information from other artists. Me sharing my manufacturer isn't going to take away from what I sell. While I don't agree with it at all, I can kind of see where I think that they're coming from. So I'm going to use my Jinx tumblers as an example. Do I have it with me? Hold on. So I think my Jinx tumbler is super cute and really unique because it's not just a flat sublimation print on it, it's actually textured. I don't know if you can see that, but it actually isn't flat at all. You can kind of tell in the light. It's bumped up and has a physical texture to it. So I absolutely love how cute and unique this tumbler is. And so when I first got it and discovered that it's textured, the little goblin part of my brain whispered to me and was like,
"Oh, you can't tell anybody. This is so cool. It just has to be yours. Like, no one else can have anything like this."
But then the other 99% of my brain that's in charge was like, no, that's stupid. We're gonna tell other artists if they need to know about this. Other artists having a cool tumbler isn't going to take away from my cool tumbler. People are going to buy the product for what is on it, not just because it's a cool texture tumbler. I can also kind of understand being worried that if you divulge your manufacturer, then that means people are going to be able to easily copy you. But there's going to be a small group of people that copy you regardless, no matter what you do, whether you withhold your manufacturer or not. I've actually had my own sticker copied before, pretty much the exact same sticker. Just the color was slightly different. Not only was the sticker copied, but the type of photos that they posted and the description was pretty much the exact same. It's also the only thing they have in their shop. That's it. It's like, because this Rotom sticker, when I originally posted it, went pretty viral on TikTok, so I think they literally just copied it verbatim, and then that's it. They were just hoping that they could take all of the virality from that and it get them money. I think people pretty easily realized who the original artist was. So I'm very thankful for that. But I think the reason that they were able to copy it so exact was because I actually had the manufacturer in the description. I had that I made it by Sticker App originally. And because of that, I think that's why they were able to copy it so perfectly, down to the fact that it's a partial translucent sticker. So if I hadn't have been open about who my manufacturer was, I may have been able to prevent this copycat. But maybe I helped an artist realize, oh, that's really cool, a partial translucent sticker. I've been thinking of some kind of cool design of my own with a partial translucent. They went to Sticker App. That's cool that I now know where I can go for a sticker. One copycat raining on my parade doesn't outweigh the fact that I could help an artist. Being copied could happen no matter how many lines of defense you put up. People are just mean. It's gonna happen. Gatekeeping manufacturers isn't gonna stop other people from copying you. It's just gonna put this weird, intimidating energy out into the community where people don't feel comfortable enough to ask for help, which is so sad because being an artist can be hard, and feeling isolated by your own community is only gonna make it that much harder. Sowing negative energy into the community is going to do no good whatsoever. Also, I feel like saying that being an artist can be hard just triggered like 5 blue collar people.
Looks like they got you doing the easy work, huh, Cupcake? I just got out of a 250-hour unpaid shift of crushing my legs in a hydraulic press.
Now for the part that most people agree should be gatekept, and that's technique. I know I talked about that a little bit earlier already, but I think it's something that should be elaborated on because a lot of people still see it as pretty rude. I'll use my Pokemon terrariums again to kind of go more in depth on this topic. So if you go onto YouTube and type in how to make a Pokemon terrarium, tons of videos are going to come up. When I first got started on terrariums, I used those exact videos to learn how to make my own terrariums. But slowly, over time, with tons of practice, I started to develop my own techniques. Again, like I said earlier, it's taken me around 5 years to perfect my terrariums to where I feel like I have my own signature unique style with them now. Mine are super unique, really high end quality, and I like to make them as realistic as humanly possible. It has taken me, I cannot tell you how many failures, how much money, how much time, how many successes, and how much pushing myself to continue to grow it has taken me to get here. I will happily gatekeep how I do, what I do, and not be ashamed of that.
Call me Cerberus the way I'm gatekeeping these bad boys.
I do this not only to protect myself, but because I also think it is super important that beginner artists make mistakes and are forced to figure it out on their own. I know this may sound mean, but if you always give someone the answer, then how are they ever going to really learn to solve the problem on their own? I was talking to my mom the other week, and I feel like I found a really great analogy for the entire situation. If someone wants to bake a cake, they can walk into a store, buy box cake mix, go home and make it. After a few times of making it, maybe they're like, you know what, I want to use milk instead of water. And then the next time they're like, maybe I want to use a 4th egg instead of 3. Then slowly over time, maybe they're able to start making their own cakes from scratch. And they'll know exactly what ingredient does what to the outcome. And then let's say someone sees these cakes. They're like, oh my gosh, these are great. These are amazing. Please tell me exactly how you did it and exactly what ingredients you used. The original baker can tell them exactly everything. Here's the exact ingredients. Here's a step-by-step. Go do it. The amateur baker could probably replicate it perfectly from following the instructions, but they're not going to know why anything turned out the way that it did. Let's say they wanted to make the cake more moist next time, they would have no idea what ingredient to change to do that. Also, if any bakers just listened to that analogy and they were like, actually, that's entirely incorrect, don't tell me. Just comment, wow, your baking analogy was so good and cool. The point is, learning and failing as a beginner artist is so crucial to your development. If you never fail, you will never learn. That feeling of finally accomplishing something after trying and failing over and over again is genuinely probably my favorite feeling as an artist. And I think that that is something so important that every artist needs to experience. So overall, gatekeeping can protect an artist's trade that they've learned to develop over many, many years, but it can also be used in an extremely selfish way. But let me know what you think. Do you think that all artists should make all of their information public? Do you think that they have a right to withhold all of the information? What do you think is too much gatekeeping? Comment your thoughts below and let's have an open discussion. If you like this video, please drop it a like, and if you want to see more videos like it, then feel free to follow me. Thank you everybody for still being here, and I'll see you next time.